Folks, yes, it's that time of the year again. March Madness has definitely descended upon us. But there is one thing I've noticed. They're down to the Sweet 16, but you kind of noticed not a lot of the mid-majors had advanced. And it seems as though it's become that way since the NIL and the transfer portal have come into existence. It seems to be a sad byproduct of that. Because, hey, McNeese State and a couple others did advance out of the first round. But you look, and all of the 16 seeds get clobbered by the number 1 seeds. Same thing with the 15 to the 2 seeds. You know what? It pretty much mostly went according. All the number 1 seeds are in the Sweet 16. But you gotta kind of wonder, has the NIL and the transfer portal possibly caused the death of the mid-major going to the Sweet 16? You know, one of the great things about March Madness is seeing an underdog advance all the way to the Sweet 16, and in a few chances, including Syracuse years ago, advancing all the way to the Final Four. But hey, the NCAA had to change the rules and everything, and even though I feel some athletes can deserve a little bit of a stipend, and yeah, I do think it's wrong for the schools to make money off of somebody, and heck, if somebody doesn't get anything, of course, they're afraid of their amateur status. But, you know what? This NIL and transfer portal may have inadvertently caused one of the great things of the NCAA tournament to maybe go by way of the dodo bird. A lot of us want to see an underdog advance. Of course, you could say that about Arkansas, a 10 seed, but guess who's the coach of Arkansas? John Calipuk, of all things. Yeah, it was a marquee matchup against St. John's. John Calipari, or I should say Calipuk, against Rick Pitino. 2 people who have caused a lot of headaches for Syracuse over the years. Of course, Pitino was an assistant coach under Boeheim in the 70s before he went off to do his thing, which including taking Providence to the Final Four in 1987. But you gotta kind of wonder, has this caused the death of the mid-major? You know, I kind of like always seeing how the NCAA tournament unfolds. Heck, in the Elite Eight, it could be the Battle of Paul Bunyan. Michigan and Michigan State could meet in the Elite Eight. But you know what? It looks as though it's going according to plan. And Auburn, Houston, Florida, and Duke, they're the number 1 seeds, and they pretty much have cruised through the tournament. We'll see what happens as we get to the Final Four next week. It's going to be an interesting weekend for the NCAA tournament and also for the girls' NCAA tournament, who definitely are starting to get on equal footing. And even then, they had some pretty good games, including a 2 overtime game. So we'll see how the NCAA tournament unfolds heading towards the Final Four. And let's go talk about Syracuse a minute. The transfer portal is starting to rear its ugly head with the orange. Yeah, we had those several players who came on 1 year things like Eddie Lampkin. But you know what? Now several of them are bolting into the portal. And a lot of people are thinking the entire team is going to enter the portal. See, this is one thing I don't like about the portal NIL. No continuity usually from 1 year to the next. And with the team welcoming in Kai and Anthony and other recruits, continuity is going to be a really big thing, especially for Autry. Heck, I think his son even entered the portal. And Adrian Autry Jr. pretty much is a glorified walk-on. We could see what happens with Syracuse. Can they pick up some, and can Red Autry actually pick up players he can coach? And can he actually coach? The 14-19 season was a disgrace. And I mean, a big thing. I mean, what the heck? Continuity's pretty much right out the window. And I mean, I'm kind of wondering how Kai and Anthony and everybody is going to be once the next year starts. This year, I think, is the year where Autry really has to prove himself. We can see what happens as we head towards next year. Going to be a long off season. Of course, one team that isn't in an off season is the lacrosse team. Heck, after one period of being blanked, SU just really poured it on against Manhattan, winning 17-2. Heck, maybe they listened to Shining Star a little too much. You know what? That was one of the great ballads of its time. Hey, I'm not going to say, honey, you are my shining star. Don't you go away. Of course, that's what a lot of Orange fans are hoping, that, hey, the Orange don't go away. And a pretty good game against Colgate. Colgate, actually, it looked like it was going to be another rout, but Colgate fought back and made it pretty close. And congratulations to both Joey Spallina and Owen Hiltz for, reaching the 200-point plateau. Gary Gate definitely has the team pointed in the right direction as they start heading into the meat of the schedule, where we get ready to look ahead to the NCAA playoffs for lacrosse. Let's see what the Orange can do. And I do want to talk about the state championships for basketball. Only one really local team made it, if you can call it local. Marcellus winning their first state title. But I do want to talk about what happened in the girls' state final between LaBargeville and their opponent, the coach for the opponent, pulling the other player's hair. Since when did that become a thing at the playoff time, and since when did that become apparent? Hey, you don't put your hand on a player. And of course, guess what? That coach pretty much lost his job immediately. And now he's charged with assault. You know, it even made the national news. And I do have to say congratulations to LaBargeville for winning the state title. LaBargeville is where my former neighbor, who has since passed on, Dora Pershe, came from. Heck, they have a nice little plant up there for dairy products. Plus, it's about 10 miles from the Canadian border. You know, congratulations to them. Congratulations to all the Section 5 teams that made it to the quarterfinals at both Binghamton and Troy. Congratulations to everybody. But you know what? It might have been pretty good had Waterloo or Minders tried to make it there. But it would have been a tough sell for them. Let's see what happens next year. And last but not least, let's talk about baseball. Yes, Thursday is when baseball, the first pitch goes out. And usually Cincinnati is the traditional place. But of course, most everybody opens on opening day. And of course, with the Yankees, you got to think about, all rise, good old Aaron Judge, who is still the leader of the Yankees. But for how much longer, I don't know. He still has probably got a few years, but he's in his 30s. We'll see how long Aaron Judge can keep going for the Yankees, and can the Yankees get back on top? And there's a lot of people who are thinking they're overdue for the World Series. We'll see how this baseball season shakes out. First pitch Thursday. And I will say, hey, some nice new menu items for the Red Wings as they get ready for their season at Innovative Field. Who likes a foot-long hot dog with meat sauce, even if it comes from a higher authority? I'm Ken Haas. That's my story this week, and I'm sticking to it.